peace and hello. You know, much of the moving and very powerful poetry written today is poetry that is written as music. That is, poetry that is written as songs. You know what I mean? All the old folk rock, blues, folk songs, all around your head, all that wonderful music. Much of that music has very beautiful words to it, too. A nice marriage, a nice combination of the two. And today, we're going to meet and hear Phil Ochs, who writes his own music and who writes his own words to the music. Sometimes he even puts music to other people's poetry, as in the Highwayman. Do you remember the Highwayman by Alfred Noyes? The wind was a torrent of darkness among the gusty trees. The moon was a ghostly galleon tossed upon cloudy seas. The road was a ribbon of moonlight over the purple moor, and the highwayman came riding, riding, riding. The highwayman came riding up to the old inn door.
The wind was a torrent of darkness among gusty trees. Moon was a ghostly galleon tossed upon cloudy seas, and the road was a ribbon of moonlight over the purple moor. And the highwayman came riding, riding, riding. Yes, the highwayman came riding up to the old inn door. Over the cobbles he clattered and clashed in the darkened yard, tapped with his whip on the window, but all was locked and barred. So he whistled a tune to the window, and who should be waiting there but the landlord's black-eyed daughter, Bess, the landlord's daughter, plaiting a dark red love knot into her long black hair. One kiss, my bonny sweetheart, I'm after prize tonight, but I shall be back with the yellow gold before the morning light. Yet if they press me sharply, carry me through the day, oh, then look for me by moonlight. Watch for me by, I'll come to thee by moonlight, though hell should bar the way. He did not come at the dawning, no, he did not come at the noon. Out of the tawny sunset before the rise of the moon, when the road was a gypsy's ribbon looping the purple moor, a redcoat troop came marching, marching, marching. King George's men came marching up to the old inn door, and they bound the landlord's daughter with many a sniggering jest, and they bound the musket beside her with a barrel beneath her breast. Now keep good watch, and they kissed her. She heard the dead man say, "Whoa, look for me by moonlight. Watch for me by moonlight, and I'll come to thee by moonlight, though hell should bar the way. Look for me by moonlight, hoofbeats ringing clear. Watch for me by moonlight, moonlight were they deaf that they did not hear, for he rode on the gypsy highway. She breathed one final breath, then her finger moved in the moonlight. Her musket shattered the moonlight, and it shattered her breast in the moonlight, and warned him with her death. He turned, he spurred on to the west. He did not know who stood, bowed with her black hair flowing down, drenched with her own red blood. No, not till the dawn had he heard it, and his face grew gray to hear how best the landlord's daughter, landlord's black-eyed daughter, had watched for her love in the moonlight and died in the darkness there. Back he spurred like a madman, shrieking a curse to the sky, with a white road smoking behind him and his rapier brandished high. Blood red were his spurs in the golden moon, wine red his velvet coat, when they shot him down on the highway, down like a dog on the highway, and he lay in his blood on the highway, with a bunch of lace at his throat. And still of a winter's night, they say, when the wind is in the trees, when the moon is a ghostly galleon tossed upon cloudy seas, when the road is a ribbon of moonlight over the purple moor, oh, the highwayman comes riding, riding, riding. Yes, the highwayman comes riding up to the old inn door.
Music was really right for that poem, wasn't it? Not all good poems make good songs, though. But this one seemed really perfect for music. Why? Is it so? That not all poems make good songs?
That's true. Most of them don't, because the meter isn't, and the rhyme scheme isn't set up that way. The Highwayman is a very narrative ballad, and it always struck me. First time I heard it, that it's floated. It's got a certain kind of lyricism that floats. You know, poetry should float, and songs are such a direct communication, and certain types of poems just seem to fit right into it, and others can be stretched into it if you change the meters around.
You said direct communication. What did you mean by that?
Something you can understand right away, and still maintain its beauty.
Mm-hmm. You don't need to translate it or think about it or make it a brain thing, but it just hits you and just comes to you.
Yeah, and if it's good, it's good enough that you can think about it, you know. But it's got enough of a communication idea to a work from the beginning.
When did you first hear the Highwayman?
Oh, when I was a little boy, roaming the streets.
Do you remember the first person?
Yeah.
Do you remember who the first person was who, read it either to you or that you read it? Or no? Was it at school at all? Do you know?
I don't know. Probably.
Yeah.
I remember I saw the movie of it with Philip Reed.
A movie, really?
They made a movie of the Highwayman, and that impressed me that they could make a movie out of a poem.
Yeah, fantastic. I can't imagine. All right.
Wanda Hendricks was in it too.
That's why they made the movie. Tell me something. Words and music together are kind of a special combination, and I wonder, what do you suppose, let's say, what are the subjects for poetry? Are they the same as the subjects for music?
Yeah, well, I mean, there's no limit. There's no limit to the subjects. The subjects are everything. The subjects are life, and what makes the song is how well the meaning of the words fits with the feeling of the music.
Mm-hmm. Do you write some? Do some of the songs you write are they mostly? Let's see, are they primarily involved with sound, primarily involved with the music, or words, or both? Do you write music first, for example?
It varies.
Mm-hmm.
It comes different ways, and I try to keep the word sounds. Keep that in mind. It's something that's got to come naturally. I never learned it. It just came out of me. Came out of my subconscious, but I've never really consciously studied poetry,
Mm-hmm. Right.
or until recently, which was on my own. But when I was in school, I never took an interest in it.
Do you ever have melodies floating in your head and then?
Always have melodies around.
What about? Do you have melodies and then look for words, or sometimes do you think words aren't important? And have you ever thought of, I don't know, just using music and just certain sounds? Or is that too?
I have melodies floating around, and then I have words, snatches of ideas, and then I try to elaborate them.
Poet said that in poetry the objective is not to teach or communicate, but to reveal. What do you think about that?
That's a revealing statement. Yeah, I think that I don't know. I don't even know. I don't have any idea what it's supposed to do. I really don't know.
He said the same thing. He had no idea really what it's supposed to do. But I guess most people who write it, they just do it.
I just work here.
Right.
I don't know anything about it.
Right.
And I really can't verbalize most of this.
Right. Do you remember at all when you were a kid? Do you remember any of the poems you were taught? Do you remember any of the nursery rhymes as affecting you?
No.
As rhythms or sounds, for example?
No, it's all just a vague memory now, but I remember movies when I was a kid, but I don't remember poems. The two poems that stuck with me were the Highwayman and the Bells.
Right. Do you? As a matter of fact, what you're saying, I can appreciate because the person who said that nursery rhymes affected him was a person coming from a different culture, came from England. Actually, he was Welsh, and I can see where his culture got him to do more reading. Where kids now, we do less and less of that reading thing, where we look at poetry very little on pages. Maybe that's why folk songs are so important. Maybe that's why, what you're doing is becoming like living poetry, because we're more of a sound generation, and as you said, visual generation. What are you doing right now? What are you working on? What kind of?
Right now, I'm about to escape out of New York City and go to California.
Escape?
And, I've been trapped by the city, and I've been arrested by the cement. So I'm gonna escape right now. Come back with a new record.
Right. Arrested by the cement. When you were thinking of the Highwayman, when you put it to music, getting back to the old Highwayman, I wondered, did it excite you emotionally, do you think?
Yes, definitely. Whenever I write anything, I get excited emotionally.
So it's basically an emotional...
that was written very quickly, too, the Highwayman was.
Really? It just came?
Yeah, right out. As soon as I got a hold of the book, and I just ran over it a few times, and it just came right out.
Mm-hmm.
It was all in the words.
The poetry of changes is very beautiful, and it sort of begins a certain way and ends a certain way. When you wrote Changes, was it that same kind of thing, or was it more, did it just come, or did you work, did you live with it for a while? Or?
Changes also came right out, just with no problems, it just poured out.
Uh-huh. It's interesting, one thing about poetry, I wonder, how when you learn something, and it's taught to you, and all of a sudden you feel terribly stupid, and the thing you're left with is ignorance, just ignorance. But good poetry somehow doesn't make you feel ignorant. It really makes you feel that you've known it all along. There's a kind of beauty, and it kind of itself isn't really beautiful. And Changes is something like that. The poetry of that makes you feel, yeah, I knew it all along. Sit by my side, come as close as the air, share in a memory of gray, and wander in my words and dream about the pictures that I play of changes.
Sit by my side, come as close as the air, sharing a memory of gray, and wander in my words, dream about the pictures that I play of changes. Green leaves of summer turn red in the fall, to brown and to yellow they fade, and then they have to die, trapped within the circle time parade of change. Scenes of my young years were warm in my mind, visions of shadows that shine, till one day I returned and found they were the victims of the vines of changes.
Singer-songwriter Phil Ochs is a recording artist for Elektra Records.
Your tears will be trembling now we're somewhere else. One last cup of wine we will pour, and I'll kiss you one more time and leave you on the rolling river shores of changes. So sit by my side, come as close as the air, sharing a memory of gray. My word, dream about the pictures that I play of changes.